You ever get into a store and you're walking by the meat case and you're wanting to pick out a good steak for dinner and you just don't know where to start? Let's talk about that a little bit. Howdy, I'm Dr. Davey Griffin. I'm an extension meat specialist and I'm in the Department of Animal Science here at Texas A&M University. Well, as you go by a meat case and you start looking at steaks, there's some very traditional ones, and we look a lot at some of the things there that are keys to putting together or being able to put together a really nice dinner with a steak that you would use for the main part of the course. A ribeye, the strip loin, the tenderloin, the most tender muscle in the whole carcass, all have those unique characteristics of being innately tender. We put the tenderloin and the strip loin together and you can have a T-bone or porterhouse. All of those have qualities that we're very used to using, especially out on the grill. So if you want a really great eating experience, those are some of the main ones that we use. Also, one of the cuts that is kind of intermediate in tenderness, but is very popular because of flavor, is sirloin. And so we've got a top sirloin here, or if you don't need that big a portion, because a lot of people don't, this cap muscle a lot of times is consumed as a steak by itself and has very high eating quality, and it's smaller for people that don't want as big a steak as we go through this. So that's another thing to look for, is how big a portion do I need to have for my steak eating experience as well. If we've got a big group or we want to cut this into cuts, the other sirloin type cut is a bottom sirloin tri-tip. There's a lot more cuts in the case. Those are the ones that are less than 10% of the whole carcass. So if we're going to expand that some and get into some cuts that maybe are more budget friendly as well, we have to look at some that are just a bit different. This big roast can obviously be used as a roast and feed a lot of people, but there's actually a couple of cuts in there, one in particular, this muscle, the infraspinatus muscle, is the second most tender muscle in the whole carcass. So if we take this, instead of making a chuck roast out of this, we cut that muscle out. There are some more budget-friendly cuts like this top blade muscle here that really works just as well. Same muscle here, but now it's a steak we can put out on the grill and have a great eating experience at a lower cost. If we take that same muscle and just cut it a different direction, we sell these as a flat iron steak. And a flat iron steak is one of those that is second most tender muscle in the carcass, but it also has great eating qualities and is something that a lot of times is sold at a lower price. Another muscle that's been used some in retail stores, but not as much lately, but at food service a lot, is teres major or petite shoulder tender. You may see it in the stores. It really works well as a grilling item. Also, you can use this for medallions and different dishes that you might make with this that are above and beyond what you get with a steak. When we get down to it though, if we really are on a budget, we can always take parts of the carcass, grind them, and have a great eating experience with ground beef. So if we take the cuts out of this roast, we can still use that as a roast, or we can grind that and have a great eating experience with ground beef as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities in the meat case. Knowing just a little bit more about those, knowing what the names of those are, and their eating characteristics and quality characteristics in terms of marbling, color, texture of the lean, all those kind of things will help you make a great choice in having a great eating experience off the grill. If you're at the store, one of the things I would do, if you don't see some of these cuts, many times they may be in the service case. So if you'll go to the small service case where there's a butcher there, they're more than happy to help you, or ask the butchers at the store, because a lot of times they just may be out of that cut at that point in time. So take a little time, be sure that you ask the right questions to the right people that know what they have in stock. Otherwise, if you need to find a different location, there are a lot of small meat processors here in the state that have meat cases and will be glad to help you. There's a lot of ways to find some of these value cuts that'll also produce a really great steak. Now, hopefully, as you've learned more about some of these cuts, you'll have a better opportunity to have a great eating experience on your budget and be able to handle those cuts in a way to maximize their utilization for your good eating experience. If you want to learn more about meat cuts and where they come from and all the things about meat science, go to meat.tamu.edu.